leans heavy on the city when I climb your stairs, carrying streetlight shadows folded in my pockets back home. You greet me with a wave and reach instinctively for the curtains, close a night out like a polite visitor outside. The room shrinks kindly, edges softening, ceiling lower, as if everything moves closer, just enough to hear my breathing steady. You light a small lamp near the couch, yellow halo spilling across sheet music, unfinished songs waiting by your pen. I drop my bag heavy with unspoken thoughts, and you nudge it aside, making space for a different cargo here. Your electric panel hums awake, tiny lights winking, and you play a slow figure like footsteps, learning to relax inside. My stories arrive out of order, scenes from the bus, the office, the train, until your nods thread them together. Behind closed curtains, the world feels slightly delayed, distant sirens arriving like echoes from another decade, unable to interrupt us. You switch to brush drums in the track, soft swishes, balancing my scattered thoughts, turning confessions into something reaping tonight. We design imaginary futures between sips of tea, each plan a gentle chord resolving tension without demanding sudden change outside. Your laugh tumbles across the room, landing on my knees, reminding them how to stop bouncing with leftover worry today. Time forgets its schedule, hiding behind picture frames, peeking occasionally, then deciding to stay silent a little longer with us. I notice the room breathing with us. Lamp flicker, fabric rustle, tiny sounds arranging themselves into a private orchestra inside. Your questions grow softer, slower, until they become invitations, open spaces where I can rest in unspoken fear or two. By the time we lift the curtains again, night outside feels smaller, while this room stays large within me somehow. Your apartment glows blue tonight, aquarium light. Turn the old lamp, turning walls into con underwater. Distance around our shoulders. I slip inside, leaving the hallway, glaring behind me and breathing quiet like a long delayed medicine. At last you sit cross-legged by the window, electric piano balanced on a crate, fingers drifting across keys like slow fish. The first chord you play hangs in the air, a deep blue valve stretching open space between us right now. I drop my headphones and keys on the table, metal clatters softening quickly against the patient fabric of evening here. We barely speak at first, letting harmonies do introductions, Your left hand holding down the floor beneath every thought tonight. Outside, sirens smear it across the window, but the sound arrives muted like distant talk in another language to me. You shift into a modal run, notes circling an unnamed center, and my worries start orbiting something gentler than fear. Light pools on the ceiling, reflections rippling quietly whenever your wrist moves, as though the room breathes with your tempo. We trade stories softly, not chasing punchlines, just placing images side by side like records on the floor between us. Your laughter bubbles up in the bridge, surprising even you, and my chest answers with an easy inhale at last. The clock on your oven blinks a slow blue digit, forgetting exact minutes, content to mark only shared courses tonight. I realize my shoulders have dropped, breaths lengthened, as if this room altered gravity just enough for us to stay. You end on a suspended cord, letting it shimmer, and in that hanging moment, everything unfinished feels strangely okay here. When I finally step back toward the door, the hallway looks colder, but something blue and steady comes with me. Thunder has already walked away, leaving puddles shining on the sidewalk. When I finally ring your upstairs buzzer for you, the stairwell smells of rain and old newspapers, but your door opens with warmth that feels freshly brewed for me. Study my face a moment, notice the storm still crouched behind my eyes, and step aside without questions spoken. Inside your living room smells of ginger and vinyl, speakers humming low while rainwater ticks from my umbrella onto tile. You press a towel into my hands, then disappear to start the kettle, leaving space for my breathing to catch. Arguments from earlier still echo in my ribs, sharp consonants ricocheting until your humming quietly rewrites the refrain. At the electric piano, fingers resting gently, waiting for my shoulders to drop before striking the first chord. The progression you choose feels like walking back home slowly. Each change a streetlight leading away from raised voices earlier. We speak in short phrases at first, apologies half-formed, but the rhythm of your run keeps everything from breaking. Rain taps another chorus on the windows, softer now. practicing how to say sorry without words tonight. Your question arrived carefully, spaced like notes, leaving room between them where my anger can stretch and quietly dissolve inside. Slowly, our voices align, not perfectly, but close enough, sharing the melody of two people choosing another chorus together tonight. Tonight, hesitating, landing, and my chest answers with a harmony it had forgotten until now. Colors blending, shadows no longer sharp, as if even furniture understands this new, gentler tempo inside. When I finally leave, the hallway feels less hostile. My steps carrying a rhythm we rediscovered between steaming cups tonight. Tonight, your porch light spills a circle on the pavement, a soft perimeter where the city noise grows shy outside. I cross that border with tired feet, each step loosening a knot tied somewhere between meetings, trains, and messages. Today, you open the door, already laughing, as though my arrival finished a joke the hallway has waited to hear final inside. The room glows in amber layers, candles, lamps, and the blue of your screen fading slowly tonight now. You take my phone, place it gently by the window, far enough that its buzzing sounds like distant thunder only. Your electric piano waits beside the couch, keys reflecting candle flames, ready to draw another invisible boundary of calm tonight. You play a slow descending line, modal and open, each note a careful step towards somewhere safer than language feels. Our conversation moves along that line, sliding sideways into memories, forward into wishes, back toward questions left unanswered until now. The walls seem closer when you listen, not confining, just leaning in like friends, drawing chairs around a story shared. Outside, tires hiss along wet streets, but their rhythm softens through curtains, turning to brushed drums below our voices here. You pour tea into wide cups, steam rising like lyrics without words, inviting my shoulders to release another breath slowly. We talk about boundaries, the ones work ignores, the ones fear exaggerates, and the quiet lines you keep around us. Every joke redraws the map, shrinking distant obligations, enlarging this small carpeted island where my pulse finally smooths its edges. The night leans against our windows, curious but polite, leaving us inside this circle, drawn in sound and warmth together. When I leave later, the air beyond feels different, like somewhere temporary, while your doorway remains the lasting measure inside. Your spare bedroom has no bed, only scattered cushions, a sleepy lamp, and shelves filled with worn-out melodies everywhere. Tonight I step inside late, shoes dragging the hallway behind me, pulsing with elevators, headlines unanswered, glowing screens and worries. You close the door slowly, leaving a narrow line of light, enough to remember outside without inviting it fully in walls. You remember every conversation, paint slightly darker where tears once rested, brighter where laughter rewrote the evening air gently. You hand me an old sweater that still holds your cologne, faint and steady, like a bass note under everything. We sit on mismatched cushions, knees almost touching, and my tired stories spill faster than your kettle ever could today. You listen, not fixing, just nodding in time, letting my anger crash against the safe shoreline of your patience here. The small speaker hums, then opens a slow piano loop, chords circling like birds who finally find the right rooftop. Our words fall between those chords, echoing along shelves, settling in corners where dust once gathered without anyone noticing before. Outside, someone slams a door, footsteps clatter away, yet hear the sound arrive softened, broken into harmless syllables for me. You dim the lamp and the walls draw closer, not threatening, just attentive, steady surfaces ready to hold whatever arrives. My breathing matches your quiet humming, a wordless tune that curls upward yet somehow roots my drifting thoughts right there. We speak of childhood balconies, invisible friends, old mistakes, and every confession lands softly wrapped in your unhurried replies tonight. Time loosens its tie, forgets the meeting, stays a while, leaning lazily against the door frame with us, humming a slower refrain. When silence finally arrives, it feels friendly, like another cushion offered, a place for my worries to lie down here. Rain gathers in the building Atrium, glass ceiling trembling, while your voice echoes down the stairwell, soft as brush cymbals. I step through the revolving door, pushed by weather and deadlines, stopped short by the warmth spilling from your smile. The lobby plants glisten under lamps, each leaf a green listener, as you ask how long the day has felt. Elevator doors close on distant phones and hurried shoes, leaving only our footsteps and the soft hum of hidden vents. You lead me past framed cityscapes into that small inner room where the carpet remembers every unspoken confession from earlier coats. Hang heavy along the wall, silent witnesses, droplets darkening fabric, while the air warms quickly around our knees. Slowly, your electric panel waits near the corner, tiny lights blinking like patient fireflies, ready to chart another safe constellation tonight. When you sit and let your fingers fall, the first chord blooms upward, soft blue petals unfolding across my chest. We talk between phrases, your questions weaving through changes, leaving space where my tired thoughts can turn without collision inside. Outside, the storm beats time against the atrium glass, but here rhythm softens, shaped by the hush of rugs beneath. Light climbs slowly up the walls, reflecting in framed certificates, making quiet halos around every ordinary thing you touch today. Your laughter arrives on the upbeat, always a little unexpected, knocking dust from shells I did not know were heavy. I feel the echo in my ribs, vibrations settling like coins in a jar, counting down to an easier breathing. We stay long after the building empties, like dimming voices from other floors, fading into a faraway harmony outside. By the time we stand again, I carry less thunder, more echo, tuned gently to the room you keep near. is at the corner store, but your doorway glows steady. A lighthouse planted in apartment hallway sees from me. Keys rattle like nervous percussion in my pocket until your hand turns the lock with a practiced gentle cadence tonight. Inside the air, taste of jasmine tea and something unnamed, a sweetness hovering just above the edge of noticing me. You flick on the record player, needle dropping like a raindrop, and bass walks slowly across the room toward me. I sink into your oldest chair, spring sighing under history, while your questions move lightly through the cluttered air gently. Today followed me here like smoke, clinging to sleeves and hair, until your laughter opened windows I could not see. You listen without hurry, eyes soft as dimmer switches, turning down every siren still, echoing from the outside streets tonight. Your electric piano waits near the window, keys reflecting city constellations, until your fingers trace a slow ascending prayer line. Chords open like late doorways, modal circles spiraling inward, gathering scattered thoughts and setting them quietly beside your own heartbeat. We talk about nothing important, whether neighbors' grocery lists, yet underneath my pulse learns a different measured patience from you. Lampshades cast soft halos on your cheeks, and suddenly the word home feels less like place, more like tempo. The clock above the stove ticks in swung time, slightly behind, slightly ahead, matching the sway of our talk tonight. I notice my shoulders dropping, jaw unclenching, as though your doorway collected everything heavy and left it on the rug. Light from the street draws lines across your floor, but here they soften, bending like melodies around our feet slowly. By the time I notice quiet, it has wrapped around us fully, a gentle brightness guiding every breath to rest. Snow still clings to my lashes when your hallway opens wide, trading fluorescent streetlight glare for lamplight amber hush inside. Boots drum tired rhythms on the mat, little thunder rolls subsiding, while your soft hello rises like gentle brass tones. You hang my scarf with slow precision as if storing away a storm chart, promising no more sudden changes tonight. Steam from your kettle curls upward, sketching invisible staves where our breath will rest like notes between familiar lines later. The room smells of citrus, peel and vinyl sleeves, old records stacked like stories, waiting for a needle to confess. Outside, traffic draws jagged graphs of hurry, but here tempo folds, brushing into a slower swing across my shoulders gently. You ask how the headlines felt today, and the words finally thaw, falling drip by drip into your listening hands. We do not fix the world, only rearrange my breathing, turning sharp inhales into phrases that land on softer beats. Coats piled near the door form a small mountain range, each sleeve a valley where daylight goes to rest quietly. Your electric panel glows blue in the corner, chords trembling awake like windows opening after a long winter outside ends. Fingers find modal shapes without thinking, circling a center we cannot name, though my chest recognizes its pulse at rest. Lamps dim and the room becomes a slow horizon where questions dissolve before ever reaching the edge of worry again. I feel the day fall off my shoulders piece by piece, like snow from branches shaking in a sudden warmth. You smile without rush, letting silence linger between phrases, teaching every nervous thought how to wait its turn to exhale. By the time your cup is empty, my inner weather has shifted. Clear skies drawn gently across one's crowded maps. Outside the wind keeps calling my name, but your hallway light draws circles around every doubt I carry back home. Breath rises from my collar like ghosts of conversations, fading quickly when your quiet laugh slips through the open door. Street lamp colors peel from my shoulders, pulling at your feet, and the floor hums softly like a waiting bass line. You hand me steaming porcelain, the mug heavier than memory, anchoring fingers that trembled all day against invisible weather outside. Curtains breathe with every passing car, gentle pulses marking time, while your voice finds a melody between the radiator sighs. I did not know the shape of safety until your questions fell like snow, softening every sharp corner of tonight. Our shadows lean together on the ceiling, You ask about the road, the headlines, the strangers, yet every answer lands here. Finally unclenched, finally willing to sleep. The rain taps time against the glass, small syncopations echoing the rhythm of my chest, learning a slower pattern inside. Somewhere beyond your walls, the city argues with sirens, but inside your living room, the night speaks in major sevenths. My coat slides from tired shoulders, falling like a final verse, and silence turns generous, making room for breathing again. In the dim lamp glow, your eyes reflect windows, not mirrors, always facing outward, yet somehow guiding every step inward. You laugh when my story stumbles, smoothing jagged edges with patient nods that sound like brush snare drums held close. Here, even my silence finds harmonies, leaning against your breathing, trusting the room to carry notes. I never sang before. When the clock finally whispers midnight, I realize arriving was not the doorway, but the moment you said stay tonight. Your window seat waits above the street, a gentle perch where headlights pass like distant comets beyond the glass tonight. I climb onto the cushion, knees drawn close, still carrying subway echoes along my spine like restless percussion from work. You settle opposite with your guitar unplugged, fingers tracing silent chords before sound even thinks of arriving in this room. The room tilts slightly toward our corner, bookshelves leaning in as if eager to overhear whatever happens next with us. You ask about the day in pieces, not a single heavy question, just small invitations scattered like crumbs for me. Words perch carefully on my tongue, testing balance before taking off and circling the room with your quiet attention nearby. You finally strum a slow progression, unamplified, and the soft rasp of string sketches a path across my chest inside. Outside horns argue in distant traffic, yet here their anger arrives reduced, turned into faint rhythmic punctuation beneath us tonight. You lean your head against the glass, tracing raindrops with idle humming, and suddenly my pulse matches your tempo exactly. We share headphones for old recording, piano and voice from another decade, and our breathing blends with the tape hiss. Time steps carefully around the rug, unwilling to disturb the pattern of small truths landing between us right here tonight. You laugh when my story forgets its point, giving it a softer ending. than reality ever offered to my heart. The cushion beneath us remembers previous evenings, subtle dips where other worries once rested and then quietly left from here. Our reflections blur in the rainy window, overlapping outlines that make my loneliness look suddenly outnumbered by your gentle presence. When I finally stand, the floor feels less steep, as though the whole building tilted toward an easier balance inside.